This morning, I'll be looking through the Ghanaian Times Business Finder, the Daily Statesman, and the New Independent.
Let's start. Do you want to start with the Times or I go with the guide?
Well, let me go with the Times then. And Parliamentary Committee commends Kotoka Airport COVID-19 testing procedures. The story is on page 7. Mama, you recall in recent times there was that controversy over non-mask wearing at Kotoka, certain parts of the airport and all of that. And it appears this is some positive development because the Parliamentary Committee for Health visited the KIA yesterday to inspect and review COVID-19 testing processes ongoing at the airports. Dr. Nanaya Wefriye, who is chairman, ranking member, Kwabena Minta Kando, managing director of Frontiers Healthcare Services, Dr. Kujo Senaja, and the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Umabwaji, were all there. Now, speaking to the media, the chairman, Dr. Ayu Efriye, explained that the inspection of the facilities was part of the Health Committee's mandate to understand how testing processes at the airport were conducted. And in summary, they were happy. Of course, that is good news for us if everything is going according to plan there, because we're still very much in the thick of things when it comes to COVID-19. And my heart goes out to India. It's been suffering. It's been battered, and they are still. And now there's this other bit that a lot of those who get, some of those who have got COVID-19 have had to struggle with mucormycosis, which is a sort of fungal infection. I mean, Charlie, COVID has changed our world. There's also go to court if you disagree with government's approach to Galamsey fight. In the course of our talk segment today, we'll be getting into that bit. Mr. President saying that 5 policemen grabbed for extorting 38,000 Ghana cedis from drivers. That's a story we actually did yesterday. There's a story I spotted. So, yes. And another thing we're going to be looking at today, the bit about double salaries and whether it was a case of you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Well, a former Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, is simply saying overpayment of salary is not a crime. We'll be delving into those in the talk segment today. On the back page, rainstorm displaces over 350 students of Hila Liman SHS. Now, you look at the state of some of the logistics or the infrastructure of the school, and you ask yourself, a school named after our former president, look at the state in which it is. Sad, but that is the story there. And then Abosu Goldfields distributes 2,160 bags of fertilizers to 360 farmers, and it's a wrap for the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
Let's jump into the Daily Guide newspaper. Here's what's on the front page. Robber policemen in trouble. Yesterday we started off the conversation, but I actually didn't think it was this huge. So 2 incidents bringing the total amount of money apparently collected from these 2 guys to 38,000. But all happened in Accra, one around Kanishi, the other one, somebody from Ashoman towards Hacho. And essentially, these policemen turned robbers, in quotes, escorted a man who was driving a DV, an unregistered vehicle, and then just decided that he was a suspect. He was a cyber fraud suspect, and they took him to a bank for him to withdraw money to them. I mean, it's so bizarre that if it turns out really that this is true, then I guess we should be afraid, really. The other incident was also a gentleman who was sitting in an Uber, the Uber was stopped. Again, they said he was a suspected Sakawa fraudster, internet fraudster, and they handcuffed him, also took him to the bank so he could go and withdraw money for them. I mean, it's so strange and weird that these are identifiable policemen sitting in a branded police vehicle. In one of them was Operation Calm. So these are officers or policemen who would be patrolling at nights. And to think that this happened. The good thing, though, is that the 2 reported to the police, and that's why the Accra Regional Police Command is taking on this. And they've given a very detailed account of what happened, which is refreshing. and they name all the officers involved. So they're still investigating this matter.
I just want to chip in on this. You said policemen turned robbers. Who knows? They could have been robbers turned policemen. And I say that, and it goes back to the bit about the sort of people we are recruiting into our security services. We keep saying it, and for me, especially on the back of some of these happenings, if for any reason I had any encounter with a police officer, yes, I know the system where you're afraid to this and that. I would ask a lot of questions. Because how do you say, on the suspicion that you're a Sakawa guy, go to the, based on what? What is the crime that has been committed? What is the allegation against the person? It is nonsense.
I have heard those who continue to say, oh, you have rights and that you should ask questions. But look at the time that these incidents happened. This is around 11, like really, really at night.
No, but the time doesn't really matter. I get your point that, of course, you're looking at your security and all of that.
This is one person sitting in his vehicle, a group of policemen stopping you with guns.
It is true.
And you think that if you're doing back and forth with them, it will help you?
I'm not saying get antagonistic with them, but even as you remain calm, even as you maintain your composure, ask them relevant questions. I'll tell you this. I know people too who, when they were accosted by the police, they were very calm and just asked a few questions. Oh, you want me to do this? I'll do it, fine. But where is your warrant? Oh, you want me to do this? Oh, please, what is my crime? I just want to know, so that calmly, when they realize oftentimes that you know what you're about, some things change in their demeanor. You remember what happened to Umaru Sanda? You remember what happened with him? And the number of police people who were surrounding him doing what they did. He asked questions, and that is why we even got the sort of information about the activities of those police officers.
I think the circumstances are really different.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's the surrounding, everything else is different.
I think by and large, we allow these police people to think that they can accost us at any time and just do anything simply because they have that badge and that they wear a navy blue uniform. It is really sad, and we must stop these things. It is a disgrace that we are talking about police officers having 38,000 CDs copped up from people on the streets. It is a big disgrace, and I think we really ought to look at the elements we are getting into national security, into the Ghana Police Service, even into the military, because the sort of things we are hearing from these outfits, I mean, sometime back you wouldn't even hear a military officer involved in it. Today it is becoming commonplace.
I get you. So police essentially is also relying on CCTV cameras of these banks where the monies were withdrawn from their ATM. One drove all the way to somewhere in airport, Silver Star, to withdraw the money for the police from 2 different sources. So they are tracking, but
and the ATMs and all of that, usually you would have visuals as well. The ATMs themselves, so you can at least prove that at this point I was compelled to come and make a withdrawal.
Yeah, with this whole exposure, we're heavily depending on the Ghana Police, the Accra Regional Police Command, to do a solid job. Otherwise, how would we trust when we are stopped by a police officer if they are going to be 10 robbers on us? We are the people that they're supposed to be protecting and helping. They are not supposed to be taking from us, robbing from us at gunpoint. So this is certainly one of the biggest issues in Ghana today, if you ask me. But there's also another story. I think you touched on it. Of course, it was in our news. The president speaking for the first time on what's happening in terms of Operation Halt and the fight against Galamsey. This is what he says. Go to court. To Galamsey. So I guess all the people, and I think recently is extra gold mining. That's
extra gold
mining that's had issues. The NPP's women organizer.
So Kate Jemfoa.
Go to court, Madam Kate Jemfoa. I guess that's what the message is for those who are aggrieved. Go to court if you think you have a case.
But on that very same note, as legalistic and as democratic as it sounds, go to court is not necessarily always the most democratic stance. I heard Mr. President say yesterday that for those of you who think I'm not doing the right thing, go to court. In this very country of ours, go to court has had its own different dimensions under different administrations, under Nkrumah, under Buzia, And as for the military regimes, forget about any real court matter. Under the NDC, the MPP, if you understand what I'm saying, I just don't want to say certain things, but go to court is not necessarily the best avenue all the time. I don't think so. I'll just leave it there.
The rest of the stories on the front page of the paper. Oponing dismissed, opens defense June 3. It's not as if he's been dismissed from the case. It's an application for stay of proceedings that was filed by his lawyers, as well as counsel for Seydou Agongo, who is standing trial alongside Dr. Oponing for causing over 217 million Ghana cedis financial loss to the state. That's the application that was dismissed. So he's been ordered by an Accra High Court to open his defense on June 3, 2021. The two, together with Agricults Ghana Limited, were ordered by Justice Clemens Jackson Honyanuga, a Supreme Court judge sitting as an additional High Court judge, to open their defense respectively after he found that the prosecution had made a prima facie case against them, thereby dismissing application for submission of no case. If you've been following the story, you might want to read the rest of it and understand what truly happened in court. We're told COVID-19 testing protocols on change for vaccinated travelers. NAPO gets doctorate for free SHS, and foundation donates incubators to Kokroko. That's Kwame Sefakain's foundation. In the center spread, where we have the news one pullout, replacing John Dumelo was my talent. Who says that? If you are an entertainment follower, Anthony Wood. I'm not sure I know him, but that's the gentleman there, and that's an actor. He said replacing fellow actor John Dumelo. I know John Dumelo, but this one, I don't know. What did he replace him in?
I really don't know.
Okay, let me move on to Uche. So Nollywood actress Uche Jimbo, in a recent tweet, called out people who constantly brandish their distaste for Nigerian film industry, and according to her, she could never understand why a class of people feel it is a bragging right to dislike Nollywood. So her rant is in the paper. And then the win whips amidst reports of Sandra Abebio denying him. That's Kumawood actor Leo Win, born Kweju Cancer. So on Wednesday, he shared a soulful video of him on Instagram in tears while a song by young act Black Sheriff played at the background. Reason behind the tears hasn't yet been established. But it has happened at the time actress Sandra Abebio, who was rumored to be his girlfriend, has denied ever dating him. Hey, Semo, where they pick the stories and put the pieces together. And yeah, well, we've got some sports stories on the back page of the paper. Antonio Conte is reported set to leave Inter Milan. Okay.
And this is after he won the Scudetto. And I think he won another trophy. Well, but there was another story you've actually skipped.
Was that the United?
Yes, Man United. I was about to say, why aren't the papers talking about Manchester United's debacle?
Oh, it was a late game. So, but then they've reported on the things that happened ahead of the Europa final. But the game was late. I'm not sure the papers.
Some papers go to press, from what I know, pretty late. So I'm actually. But anyway, you have a point there. The Finder news paper now, and some very distasteful news we got yesterday. 3 killed, dozens feared trapped in collapsed mine pit. And at least 3 people were killed, while dozens are feared trapped in a collapsed mining pit in Ghana's coastal central region. An official actually confirmed on Wednesday, which is yesterday. Joe Donko, Central Regional Director of the National Disaster Management Organization, told Shenhua that the incident happened in an abandoned mining pit of a large-scale mining company at Breman, a mining community in the central region. And you know, when I got to the point when I was following the news where they spoke about the fact that they had stopped looking for any more people, it just became very clear that it was a loss. It was a complete loss. Who was it that was mentioning? I think it was it Kojoga Dawudu the other day when we engaged them on Galamsey, that he nearly fell into one. You know, they were actually monitoring on one of these sites. He nearly fell into one. You know, there have been incidents where innocent people have fallen into these pits that were dug, not properly sealed and all of that. So as for Galamsey, I don't know. But
what is also
it's
revealing about
really
this
to be dealt with.
particular one is the fact that the people in the community couldn't even identify these three because they said they're not from the community.
They're not part of us.
So people come from different parts and then they come and mine, engage in illegal mining in places where they don't live. So they don't care. They don't come from the town. They don't care. And
they just come and destroy. And that is the mindset of some people who also come from, I don't want to single out nationalities, who also come from outside of Ghana. And they just come, this is not our land. So let's pollute it, let's destroy it, let's make our money and go away. And it's only a country whose laws are not working that will allow that to happen. And unfortunately, we've allowed that to happen for a long time. Beautiful laws, poor implementation. Page 8 of the paper, SDGs, developing nations face 2.5 trillion investment gap. Picture there of Yofi Grant, CEO of the GIPC. But it references, the findings of a report on Ghana and how, though there have been some gains made in some key areas, some indicators under the social goals, but not enough to achieve the SDGs by the 2030 deadline. So, for example, poverty was supposed to have been eradicated by 2030. It's futuristic, but looking at where we are currently, we are nowhere close to, achieving that goals. And the goals under this agenda, carefully crafted under three key pillars: development that is economic, social, and environmental, ending hunger, good health, well-being for the people. Then there's the environment. The goals are clean water and sanitation. And trust me, I went out yesterday. As for clean water and sanitation, it will take a while in Ghana. When we've gone up north, the northern belt of the country, starting from Oti, moving up, I have a friend who's working on a project for a village in Oti just to get them water. It's sad. Potable water to drink. Water. And then, of course, the social pillars, quality education, gender equality, and all of that in there. So, we have a lot of work to do. I'll wrap on this one as we celebrate one of our own. I always love it, like I said, when our ladies rise. And of course, one of our very own is doing just that. The managing director of Absa Bank Ghana, Abna Osei-Poku, has been named as one of Africa's 50 most influential female corporate leaders. And the announcement was made by Leading Ladies Africa, a women-focused non-profit organization. So kudos to Abna Osei-Poku on that feat.
Let's do the Daily Dispatch newspaper. There's a fascinating story on page 2. So essentially,
I could hear you giggling, and then tell us about it.
They've got the Galamsey, the president comments, and then a story they started from yesterday, Obeda Samoa on the Nkrumah years in Ghana. But story of interest is on page 2, and it's not even from Ghana. So this is a war veteran who started a polygamy project. He's got 16 wives, and around 2015, he put a hold on his polygamy projects because he said the economy wasn't doing well in Zimbabwe. But now he started again, so he's just about marrying his 17th wife.
17th?
Yeah, he's got 151 children. 151.
Oh, he's one of those. I've read about a couple of those who have.
Yeah, so polygamy projects, he calls it. His mission on earth is to produce.
To procreate.
Okay. So that's what he's been doing.
That's like a little village right there.
He
has a village of his own.
In the 1980s, and this is 2021.
So it's been what, like 40 years thereabouts?
Hey!
Where'd you go?
He doesn't intend to stop until death takes him away.
How old is he now?
He's 66. He's pretty young.
Then the man just might have
so he's got a long way to go.
of time on his hands.
He's got a long way to go. Hey. He wants to have 100 wives and 1,000 children. 100 wives, 1,000 children. That's the aim. So he's got a vision. He's got a mission. He's got an objective. What is yours? Why,
if everyone were populating the world like that, would he have Okay, Obiara what the goals and the aspirations, so it's fine. But mine definitely doesn't come anywhere near his goals.
Oh, so that's it from the Daily Dispatch.
Okay, so let's look at the Daily Statesman now. KGL Foundation supports charity organizations. No rise from criminal ventures. President states position on equipment burning in Galamsey fight. Let's ensure success if after Belmia to AU states and there's Opuni suffers a big blow in court. But I'll do this one. Smaller parties descend on NDC for boycotting IPAC. It's actually a story on page 2 by Kwesi Frimpong. And the story says political parties that do not have representation in Parliament have described the decision by the opposition NDC to boycott meetings of the Inter-Party Advisory Committee as reckless and unwise. The parties have also condemned the continuous attack on them by the opposition NDC. According to the parties, the NDC's reason for the boycott of IPAC smacks of hypocrisy. So that, in a nutshell, is what they have been saying. They are not happy with how the NDC has acted. Well, that is practically it for this paper. But in the entertainment page, there is Jennifer Aniston says Brad Pitt was one of her favorite Friends guest stars. You know, there's another version coming up with the old team reuniting. Tonto Dike advises people against going back to their exes. I would have asked you a question, but me, Bisa, for certain reasons.
Oh, you can ask me.
What do you think about?
Go back to your ex?
What do you think about?
You want to ask?
No, not even this. What do you think about remaining friends with an ex? I've heard of so many things where people say, "Oh, once you are zoned out, that is it." I disagree, though. I feel being a friend with a person. I mean, if you're just going to leave it at that, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't know what you think.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it, really. But the point is, what kind of conversations would I be having with you? So for me, it's not like we're enemies, but I'm not going to be picking up the phone and be calling you. And
so what would prompt you to call an ex?
I'm not sure, really.
Maybe
it's not like I'm going to keep you.
The person is a banker, and you're trying to get something through that bank. You need something, and you might pick the phone and call. Is that such a situation?
If you're my relationship manager, yeah. But apart from I don't think so. If I saw you like in the bank, I'll say hello. If you ask me, oh, maybe you want to help me, yeah, of course. But I'm not sure. Like, I won't even be thinking about you, you know? But I don't, if you want to be friends.
You've been zoned out. You're zoned out, and that's it. Cristiano Ronaldo, I've achieved the goal I set myself when I arrived at Juventus. That's it for the paper.
All right, the Business and Financial Times newspaper on the front page. Cultural leaning still affects local participation in the Ghana Stock Exchange. That's the managing director making that revelation. He says that it's actually a suggestion that he made, that the cultural leaning surrounding ownership remains the primary reason for low participation of indigenous businesses on the market. And then airport COVID-19 testing system, we're told, will be able to detect new variants. That's the expectation, so that they would alert the Ghana Health Service through the port's health units at KIA of any new variant that enters the jurisdiction. And the economy capable of bouncing back on its own, according to Professor Bokping. There are other financial stories, related financial stories in the paper that you can explore. I guess that will be it for the Business and Financial Times.
Well, my final paper, The New Independent, Prophet warns Akufo-Addo and co. Ban acquisition now, else. Okay. Free SHS is not all-inclusive, claims Dr. Richard Anani, and tasks government to include private schools. It's been a while since I heard of Dr. Richard Anani.
Yeah.
It's actually been a while. Prioritize needs of underprivileged, remote foundation to government, and then scrap Eastern Corridor import duty policy. Tax experts, GRA officials demand. So those are the major stories in the paper. When you turn it open, there is on page 8, Ghana Gas ventures into production of agrochemicals, and FDA digitizes payments for imports and exports. That will be it for that paper.
We will do myjoyonline.com. Are you highlighting on any story before we do myjoyonline.com? Okay, here we go. Lighthouse Chapel begs court for more time to file defense. So I'm sure you're very familiar with the former pastors of the church who claim that their SNIT contributions were not paid for a number of, or a period of time. And so they've dragged the church to court, the leaders. Okay. Well, essentially, what it is that they're asking for more time because they were to file a response within a number of days, which was 14, and they did not. They filed, I think, 1 out of about 6 or 5 cases. You can read and get the details of it. So, you know, when they went to court, the lawyer for Lighthouse pleaded with the court to give them more time so that they can adequately respond. They were slapped with some amounts, I think 1,000 each, and it was a bit dramatic, so please read it so that you can appreciate it. When you read it, it's like you're sitting in the court and you're monitoring it yourself with the 2 lawyers doing their own thing. And Edwin Appiah writes beautifully, so he's captured it really nice. Bedieto Asante denies allegation of having sold Arts Center. Details of that there. Alleged coup plotters pray for variation of bail condition or variation of bail conditions. 3 persons dead, 40 more trapped in collapse Galamsey pit at Bremang. I distributed 161 ambulances as a health minister. Alban Blackman, the speaker, telling us something he did way back. Derek Barting, 34 others arrested for violating road traffic. Is that the footballer, Derek Barting? Okay. Avoid use of media to denigrate others for cheap publicity. Attorney General urges lawyers. And if any patient should die, blame Komfo Teaching Hospital management. Lab scientists warn as strike intensified. Now, they've given a deadline, which is like today. Today. If issues were not addressed yesterday, then we should be getting ready for a full-blown strike by their colleagues in other regions as well. That's been the warning. So we'll see how this I guess, pans out today with the laboratory scientists who are unhappy with the situation at the Komfo Teaching Hospital. In
the meantime, it is the people who are suffering. But right before we wrap, some birthday wishes. I kindly wish my daughter Dilma Selinam Freeman Tete, who is 10 today, a happy birthday. May the good Lord continue to protect and lift up this lovely daughter of ours. That's from Superintendent and Mrs. Freeman Tete.
Yeah, I've got a lovely one also coming from Engineer Samuel Kwakwabuedu. And I'm not going to say that he made me sleep in darkness today because they took my lights. But it is his son's birthday, so I'm not going to take the shine. Kofi Kwakwa, a.k.a. Chief of Madonna School, Koforidua. Papa loves you, and may you grow in grace and wisdom. Enjoy your birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Kofi Kwakwa, a.k.a. Chief of Madonna School in Koforidua. We've got sports coming your way right after this. Stay with us.